I realized that, like, a lot of that was my shit. Like, basically those people were just doing their jobs. That, everybody wasn't really out to get me. The things that I was doing was wrong. But, like, what I really realized after working a few steps and stuff was that, like, the biggest grudge that I had was against myself. For all the stuff that, like, it talks about in our text is like letting yourself down in your own eyes. And from doing that over and over again, I held a grudge against myself, and it was like, basically, it took me a long time to really start to believe in myself again after that. It took a lot of, I guess, triumphs. When I first got here, I didn't like necessarily, like they say, like a lot of people say that, when I seen the things happen in your lives, that it gave me hope, which it did, but it wasn't until things started happening in my life that I really believed, that this life is possible, and I'm grateful for this life because, by the time I came into this program, even though I was at a young age, I had lost all hope. I wasn't, all the things that are happening now in my life are unbelievable to me. It's like I'm living the dream. They talk about living the dream. It's like, I had dropped out of school. I was living place to place. I came in here because I caught some charges, and basically it was like you either go into a rehab or, you go do 6 years in jail, so it's like, it was an easy decision for me at that time, and even then, I didn't want to get clean, that wasn't my idea, I just wanted to, like, take care of my charges and, like, figure out how to sell drugs and not use them all, it's like, but after a while, I came into a Salvation Army, made that little $5 a week for, about 10 months and, like, but it was like, that was when I first got into a contact with myself, and, like, I seen, I was in an environment where men were praying and talking about their problems, their feelings, their emotions, not everybody was there for the right reasons or whatever. But, that also gave me a thing to look like, is okay, if you get with this or you get with that, I seen, like, I think 250 people leave that program unsuccessfully, and it let me know, it's like, these people are the same people as me, but as far as, like, when they gave me this, they had given me one topic, then called me back 5 minutes later and gave me another topic, and honestly, I like the first topic better, but there must have been a reason for me to speak on this topic, otherwise it wouldn't be put in my place, basically, I had to think about it. Like, what's a grudge? Where'd they get this from? That's my first reaction. This is in the basic text. Nobody heard nothing about no grudges, And what I figured out is, like, it's a deep-seated resentment, and, like, that's held on for a long time. And the biggest thing that I have, like, once I got over the grudge that I had, like, with myself and God through, like, working, like, a 4th, 5th step, is, like, that, I really have a grudge with my stepfather and my sister, I guess, like, my stepfather raised me from the time that I could understand that he was what a father was, from like 6 months, say, and he's actually my sister's dad, and like, I guess till the time I was 13 when my parents separated and got divorced, which was like, it was amazing to me. Is like, he wasn't really as much physically abusive, although he was, grab you by the ear, slap you upside the head. He never really beat me, but, it was still, the way that he degraded me, my mom and our family, and the type of control that he had over our family, was very painful to me, and like, even though when my mother told me that he wasn't my dad, I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was like, I knew it, just because it was like, I never, even though, because me and, I don't look like anybody in my family, because my dad's full-blooded Native American, my real father, and, my stepfather was, like full-blooded German, like 6'3", thin, you know, and my dad's like short, stout, you know, just like me, you know. It's like I got, you know, I was blessed to have my mother's personality because she has, you know, a better personality than either one of my fathers, you know. So it's like I got my dad's looks and my mother's personality, and people would kind of whisper about it when I was a kid, but I never really grasped it, and I never would have believed it if my mother didn't tell me. You know what I mean? Because it's like when you lived and you've been programmed, okay, this is your dad, you never think twice about it. You know, I use his name, you know, everything. But my mother never, she must have known. She must have had some kind of thing because she left the part where it says father blank on my birth certificate, on my original birth certificate. And like, you know, even after they separated, you know, he was still very emotionally abusive. You know, he liked to play like mind fuck games. That's what, you know, that's how my mom used to put it. You know, he liked to antagonize you and degrade you and like, you know, and amazingly enough, I got a lot of that shit too. You know, I got a lot of his characteristics in me, you know, basically like getting on people's nerves and just nagging after them, you know, until, like, a lot of times when I was a kid, I remember just thinking, like, just go ahead and hit me and shut the fuck up, you know, I just, like that, like, getting that kind of thinking is like, you know, where someone just takes you to that point, you know, and I catch myself a lot of days doing it like that, you know, subconsciously, you know, but, like, you know, since then I've met my real father, you know, and it's really, I kind of have a resentment against him, but it wasn't his fault. You know, my mother never, you know, when he tried to claim me one time, she had said, okay, well, you're going to be threatening him with child support and stuff. So I didn't really have a chance with him, but it's like very hard now. I mean, we're friends, but it's very hard to get a connection like that, I find. You know, it's like, you know, like I call my mother or my grandmother like every week or two. But it's just like, you know, it's, you know, I went out there for a few weeks here and there. He lives in Arizona, and it's just, you know, and I guess in a way I have a grudge with him for him being the person that he was, you know, because why my mom didn't go with him, you know, to begin with was just because he was an addict, you know, first and foremost, just like me, and the fact that he couldn't be responsible, you know. My stepfather was the responsible person, you know, but he was an asshole, basically, you know, just total, complete, and still to this day, he's like that, you know, the world changes and, you know, he just stays the same, you know, and like, in a way I'm grateful because when my parents got divorced, like my mom and my stepfather, she signed paperwork so that I wouldn't have contact with him and he wouldn't have to pay child support for me. And, you know, at first I was real disappointed, you know, his whole family disowned me. You know, and it was very painful for me. My mom actually shipped me to live with my grandma in California for a couple years when they were divorcing to kind of keep me out of that, you know, and it was ugly, you know, it was definitely ugly and it hurt me a lot, you know, and like I had a lot of resentment and anger. I used a lot over that, you know. When I was a kid, you know, I lashed out, you know, a lot of that stuff was like, once I started to do step work, I realized it was misplaced anger, you know, that I was angry at him and the situation and, you know, like, you know, why the hell did your family disown me? You know, like that, you know, that abandonment and stuff, you know. And I realized I had a grudge against his whole family. You know, when I was old enough, I remember seeing him in a parking lot somewhere and stepping to him, you know, and because, you know, he was like, you know, he's 6'3", I was like 5'0", you know, he wanted to pick on me, you know, it's like, all right, now what, you know, but it was like, you know, none of that stuff never changed it, but like, where the grudges, like, I haven't had contact with him in like, you know, years, but I still, because my sister still has contact with him, he still affects our family, you know, and sometimes I think about it, like, you know, I mean, when I was younger, especially like after my parents separated, I definitely thought about taking him out, you know, at a young age. Like, let me just, you know, get a ski mask, you know, get a bat, hide in the bushes, whatever, you know. And like, I had plotted many days and many different ways how to kill him, you know. And like, if I wasn't clean today, you know, or like, that's why my mother and him really divorced, because it was coming to that point where one of us was seriously going to get hurt, you know, because he was going to hurt me or I was going to hurt him, you know. and it was coming where we started fist fighting more, and it was getting to that point. But like, you know, and I put my sister through a lot too. You know, she's his daughter, you know, and she always had preferential treatment. You know, he always, even though I didn't know it at the time, I could feel that he was favoring her, you know. And like, when my mom told me, I said, yeah, that like, you know, yeah, I knew it, because he always favored her, you know. And it was like, you know, it just rocked my whole shit. You know, it's like I was living a lie for all those years, you know. From then on, really, is when I really started drinking, using, hanging out. From that point, you know, before that I didn't really do it, you know. And like, that was a major turning point in my life. But now, like, okay, I've been clean for 8 years. I put my sister through a lot. You know, I used to practice wrestling with her. She was 6 years younger than me. Throw her around, you know, like, pick on her. And I did the same things that my stepfather did to me to her. You know, it was like definitely misplaced anger. You know, and like to this day, you know, our relationship is very strange, you know, and like, what I figured out when I started looking at this topic is like, that I hold a grudge against her because of what her father is, you know, and it makes it that much harder for me is because she has like the same look and ideas as him, you know. She's like 6 foot tall, you know, blonde, straight hair, you know, she has the same look as him, you know. You could tell that she's his daughter, you know, and it's just like, and she's like real, I guess, like right now she's on a monetary kick, you know. She's that type, like she's all, the way it's been is like that. I've always been, you know, the heart and soul in my family, you know, just like my mom. I always had that love, that passion, you know. I'm an artist, but she's always been that, you know, the excel person, you know, the person that's like good in sports, good in school. You know, she always was trying to outdo me, and I never figured it out. But she got a grudge with me too, just because it's like I am the person that I am. Because no matter how good she could do, I'm me, you know, and I'm an original person, you know. And like, I definitely like to even today, she's still like, I'll get something from my mom, whatever, you know, and she'll try to outdo me, you know, she'll try to buy something. But it's like, when I see her, it just makes me, like, something about it. It's so subconscious though. It's like when she starts getting into like, you know, like, this is what I'm doing, you know, and it just gets me so bad, you know, and I want to argue with her. I want to, you know, even to this day, it's like only like the last couple years that I've been able to even like sit down and have a meal, you know, like Easter or whatever, you know. And I've been working steps, but there's just something about her that gets me, and it's the grudge against him, you know. And I figured that out. It's like that I'm holding this grudge against him, and like it's not letting me progress in my relationship with my sister, you know. And like, you know, I try, you know, and I be there for her, you know. And a lot of the times it's like it took me like years and years to where we, like maybe 3 years before we were able to even talk on a civilized level. And that was just from me, you know, because I did a lot of damage, especially when I was using too, you know, tearing the house up, you know, just the way that I was, you know. It's like seeing me, you know, just selling drugs out the house, you know, getting the house raided. You know, I took her through a lot of shit too, you know, and I had to just stay clean for a while. You know, I didn't even try to address it. I didn't try to do anything. I just stayed clean, you know, and it got better, you know. And even to this day, it's like, even though, you know, it's like through working steps and stuff, it's getting better, you know. It's like where I loaned her money like a month ago, you know, and she paid me back, you know. But it wasn't the fact of loaning the money. It's the fact that, like, just being there, you know, just being there and doing what I have to do, you know, and doing right as I can by her. You know, it's like her, I guess, what do you call that? Like, not capitalism, like her shallowness kills me, you know. And my stepdad's just like that too. Like, and sometimes, like lately, because my mom is like the type of person where she's always, my whole life, she's like, my stepfather used to pay the rent. She used to, take care of everything else. She used to, any extras that I ever got, it was her. Anytime that I used to get sneakers or, he used to, always want to take me to Kmart, get them plastic joints, whatever, when I was a kid. And I had shit about that. It's like all the kids be making fun of me and shit. I was like, nah, I ain't going to the store with his ass, like my sister lately has been like, she just got a job. She just graduated college, top whatever. She got a job with a pharmaceutical company making like $45,000 a year, all expenses and all this. And she's addicted to like monetary shit, and my mom is barely struggling by, and she's asking my mom for money for a handbag, or, and my mom's the type of person where she'll give her last for a handbag or some shit like that. And I'm just like, and I seriously have a grudge against her for that shit. And I'm like, I'm really getting pissed off over it, just because it's the fact is like, how can you just like see my mother struggle, paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, and then ask her for something like that, and I seriously, and I work steps, and I do, that's why I just haven't been able to like get there. Like I went up there at Easter and everything was cool and everything, but I didn't really sit, I know what I need to do. I know I need to like take her aside and be like, listen, don't ask her for nothing else. If you need anything, I guess I would have to do that. But it's like, it's just painful that she would like, and what somebody said to me was like, she can't get the emotional bond that me and my mom has, so she tries to take what she can, which is the money, and it's like a crazy ass situation to me, and like that grudge is like, it's like she's my sister and I've always been raised, even though like she's only half my sister, in like blood wise, I've been raised with her my whole life and I love her like a sister. But it's like, why would you treat my mother like that? It's like, we brother and sister, but this is my mother. You know what I mean? It comes down to that. But it's like, to an extent, my mom's going to still do it and she's going to still do her stuff. So, I have to give her process, and when I started to look at it, I realized, like, you did the same shit when you were using, and I realized that in a lot of ways that grudge goes back to me. It's like that I used to be a leech, it's like when by the time I was 21, until the time I got clean, I never had cigarettes, I never had money, the only time I ever had a job was when my mother would drag me out of work, take me to clean houses with her and stuff like that. Like, I was a straight bum, And when I see, like, someone leeching on my mom again, it would, like, just brings me back to where I was, And it's like, damn, it's like, that's where I was, And I guess she's going to have to work through her process with that, And it's like, that, and like another grudge that I recently have is like with my job, it's like my job is like, I've been working, like now I keep cutting my hours down because I don't want to be there, I've been working at a Joe job for like 6-7 years, I like it. I really like interacting with the customers, recently I've started to do some more stuff that's like more on a professional job level, like web design and stuff like that. But, I work at a coffee house and, like, just the way, like, it's like I've been running basically the whole show for a long time. And it's like, but they won't, there's only one person above me, which is the owner. But at the same time, what pisses me off is, like, he's an absentee boss. And the last owner was an absentee boss. And they leave me, like, okay, take care of this, right? But at the same time, they don't give me the amount of control that I need to, and the areas that I don't handle are the ones that get fucked up, and like, we do events, we lose money on the events, and I'm like, fuck, I'm working so hard to keep money flowing in, thinking of new ways to market and do all this kind of stuff for you just to piss it away, and I got a grudge against my boss like that. It's just like, and I finally told him, like, listen, because I had blown up at the guys that were running the event, during one of the events. And my boss was like, oh yeah, so, but it's crazy because he knows the way that I feel and he understands what's going on, but he doesn't change it because he don't want to have to deal with it. You know, and it's amazing. It's like that it's like I don't know, like I'm in that position where, okay, you've been doing this for a long time. Okay. That you've been doing this for a long time, and like, it's just frustrating that, you like what you do, but it's like you're stuck under a management that's not there, and you're running certain things, the things that you don't have control of are getting fucked up, and then I'm the one that people come to, like the customers and I have to like clean up. I'm tired of sweeping up after my boss's ass, and he's the one making the money, I'm coming behind cleaning up his messes, and he's making the money. And that's, and I seriously got a grudge and a resentment against that man for that. And I generally think he's a decent person. He's all right. He just started to get us benefits, which is good, starting in May. But it just seems like that, like I just don't know what to do, because I'm in that position where he won't take care of it, and right now I'm not in the position to leave, so I'm just stuck there, and it takes all that I can do, on a daily basis. I'm the type person where I pray at 6 in the morning, I start working real early. By 10 o'clock, I'm off the ringer, yelling, hollering, like, boom, boom, you do that, like, just crazy. Like, I get like that a lot of days, and a lot of days, what I've learned is to go back to my basics, like go in the bathroom and pray, read the just for the day, or, and a lot of days I have to recenter myself, what I've realized is like that a grudge is definitely, it could probably back you into a corner that you couldn't get out clean if you like took it there, But what I realized is if you stay clean, no matter what your issues or no matter what kind of things that you have that's bothering you, that if you stay clean, that you can work on them tomorrow and that you can get through them, because I've seen people, have major issues with their family. I've seen them work through it. So if they could do it, I could do it too. And that's what this program is about. It's like one addict helping another. And with that, that's all I have to share. Next speaker is Derek A. from Norton.
Yep. I'm a recovering drug addict. My name is Derek.
Hey, Derek.
I'd like to thank the Capital Area Convention for taking the risk with an addict like me. And recovery is a gift. And I truly believe that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we're talking about grudges, a heavy thing to carry, right? I had a grudge at a very young age, right? I'm going to take y'all through a little story on life, you know what I'm saying? See, my 12-step tell me every addict has a unique way of carrying the message, you know what I'm saying, right? And tell your own story, right? I'm talking about originally out of Brownsville, which is Brooklyn, New York, you know what I'm saying, right? And like, but being I had a father who was a productive member of society, my father was in the Navy, right? And my mother grew up in the projects her whole life, so she said when she had her kids, she wanted better for her kids, right? So what happened was, my father was in the Navy, and when it was time for him to retire, he retired in Northern California in a predominantly white neighborhood. And that's where I grew up, right? And that's when the grudges started, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about, like, getting disconnected at a very young age, trying to find yourself, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, I talked to my cousins in New York, right? And they talking about doing one thing, and then I'm on the West Coast doing something totally different, you know what I'm saying, right? And I just couldn't find myself. So I tried to find something that would take me outside myself. My brother came on with some reefer one day. He said, yo, Jerry, man, try this, you know what I'm saying? He showed me how to smoke my first joint. And I fell in love with my first joint because it took me outside myself, right? And I went through like 19 years trying to find that feeling again. Just couldn't find it, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, like, I'm not going to blame my disease on my parents, right? I'm not going to blame it on people, places, and things. I must take responsibility for myself, you know what I'm saying, right? But at a young age, I didn't know that, right? So I did a whole lot of things to escape myself, man. I'm talking about using drugs at a very young age, right? And I'm talking about just doing it just to try to find myself, you know what I'm saying? And like, and what happened was when I was young coming up, you know what I'm saying, all my friends was doing one thing and I was doing something totally different, you know what I'm saying? Let me slow down. A grudge is a heavy thing to carry. See, I don't go on my own thinking, right? I went and called another experienced woman and asked him, what's your definition of grudge, you know what I'm saying? And she said, I carry it's like a resentment, you know what I'm saying, right? So I'm running with that, you know what I'm saying? And we talking about a grudge. It's everything I carry. I carried that for a lot of years, man. I always wanted to be somebody other than who I really was, right? And I would go to different neighborhoods and I would tell cats I'm from a place other than where I was, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, being I'm really from Brooklyn, but I really wasn't growing up in Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? See, my life started on the West Coast, where I started learning things out there, right? And I'm talking about doing anything to be other than who I was, you know what I'm saying? And what I'm talking about, and when I smoked reefer, it took me outside myself, man. And I went like 19 years trying to escape me, right? And I'm talking about growing up out there, you know what I'm saying? Check this out. I grew up good. I didn't grow up having to worry about eating no food. I didn't have to worry about clothing, you know what I'm saying? Because my father was productive, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, there was always meals at the table, right? So that wasn't enough, though. I still needed something that'll make me feel whole again. And I thought I would find it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, man, from that very young age, man, I'm talking about how the degrees progress at a young age, man. I started smoking reefer, right? Drinking beer, you know, sniffing coke, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, doing acid, you know what I'm saying? I did a whole lot of different drugs, different combinations of drugs to try to take me outside myself, you know what I'm saying? And all the time using drugs, I started doing things that addicts do. I started stealing stuff at a very young age, you know what I'm saying? All my youth was in and out the youth house. And every time I got locked up, the counselor said, yo, Jake, if you don't change, you'll graduate to the prison system, right? And I said, no, not me. I'm a little different, you know what I'm saying, right? Because what I would do when I get locked up, I go hang out with other people, right? And we get the master plan together till we hit the street how we going to flip it, do it better this time, right? And I never could figure it out until I got here. 19 years later, by then, Sandy's doing the same thing, expecting different results. I never knew that shit, man. I always get knocked off, you know what I'm saying? I said, damn, if I went down the other block as opposed to this block, she would have been all right, you know what I'm saying, right? I couldn't figure out till I got here, man. And, man, I had grudges over my parents for having us grow up in that neighborhood as opposed to growing up in Brownsville, where my family was, you know what I'm saying? Check this out, man. I'm talking about life is painful growing up, man. You know, I ain't have a whole bunch of responsibilities. The only thing I had, my responsibility was go to school, get an education, right? I couldn't do that shit, though. I couldn't follow a simple program at a young age, you know what I'm saying? You know what? How I identified with Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, right? Every time she got off the yellow brick road, she called drama, you know what I'm saying, right? And that's how my life was, you know what I'm saying, at a young age, man. I couldn't stay on the yellow brick road, man. I couldn't follow simple directions, you know what I'm saying, right? I was always trying to escape reality, you know what I'm saying? I tried to find it with people, places, and things. I started hanging out with cats, like I said, getting high, pulling B&Es, you know what I'm saying, right? Pulling stick-ups and shit. That wasn't me, right? But I was trying to find myself, man. And I'm talking about, like, growing up was painful, man. And I made a whole lot of bad choices when I was young. I'm going to check this out. I was young. I was watching the news one time and a plane crashed, right? And the people in the news said like 400, 200, 300 people died on the plane crash, right? And I started crying. My father came from the back. He said, what's the matter? I said, the plane crashed and all the people died, right? He said, man up, you know what I'm saying, right? So he taught me at a young age, you take your feelings on the ground. Don't let nobody see your real emotions, you know what I'm saying, right? So I'm saying, damn, this is how I got to go through life, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about, man, having grudges at a young age, man. I couldn't get nothing right, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about trying to find it through different combinations of drugs, you know what I'm saying, right? And, you know, and I did conventions before, right? You know, I got caught at the last moment, you know what I'm saying? But they tell me never say no to Narcotics Anonymous, and I do got a message to give y'all, right? We're talking about a grudge is a terrible thing to carry, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a heavy thing to carry. The only person that feels is me. Y'all don't know I got a grudge with you, you know what I'm saying? But it's like peeing on myself. I'm the only person that feels it, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about what helped me deal with my grudges is the step work, you know what I'm saying? The first step taught me about acceptance. If I can get with acceptance, whatever I got a grudge with, things usually work itself out, you know what I'm saying? But when I ain't got no acceptance with it, I'm all unmanageable now, you know what I'm saying, right? And that's why they talk about the answers is truly in the steps, you know what I'm saying, right? I didn't come to Narcotics Anonymous to do no steps. I came in because I had a drug problem. I had a major drug problem. And I want to learn how to control this, you know what I'm saying? You know, but y'all told me your drugs is a symptom of my disease. My disease is much bigger than the drugs, man. I went to a meeting. They picked up a piece of paper. They said, here's the drugs. They tear it off the corner, and they said, here's your problem. And how do I address my problem? I address it with a Narcotics Anonymous sponsor and doing some step work, you know what I'm saying? Because the steps help me get outside myself. The steps keep me from committing suicide, and the tradition help me keep me from committing homicide, you know what I'm saying, right? So I got to come in here, and I got to get with the we of Narcotics Anonymous, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about, man, I came in and I learned how to be free, man. So we talking about grudges, you know what I'm saying? And I learned how to deal with that, man. You know what I'm saying? How I deal with grudges, like I said, is acceptance and surrender, man. You know, and it don't always come easy, man, because my disease is coming back and insidious, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times I can't see my disease coming, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about the grudges started, too, at a young age. I grew up happy, joyous, and free, man. You know, I'm talking about, I grew up in a 4-bedroom house, right? 2 parents, you know what I'm saying? And, like, we was living like the Brady Bunch life, you know what I'm saying, right? And, like, but what happened was my mother and father started going through their things, and they broke up and went through their divorce, you know what I'm saying? That's when shit went haywire, right? So now, check this out. I'm in Northern California, right? Now I got to come back to Brownsville, New York, right? Age 13, entering high school, you know what I'm saying, right? Now I got to ante up, right? Now I'm in Brooklyn, right? Coming from, we talking about the suburbs in Northern California to the projects in Brooklyn, New York, you know what I'm saying, right? Which is a culture shock, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm trying to find myself in this drama, you know what I'm saying, right? Only thing going for me, I had an uncle who grew up there his whole life, you know what I'm saying, right? So when I got to Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying, he said, Derek, look, this is Brownsville, right? We never run and we never will, you know what I'm saying, right? And that's what you got to internalize in your soul, because that's how we living in here, you know what I'm saying, right? So I had to ante up at a young age, man, you know what I'm saying? And I got on the block, man, we smoking blunts and shit, you know what I'm saying, right? And they said, yo, this how you do it. Get White House cigar, you know what I'm saying? Show me how I rolled my first blunt, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, and that's when the madness started, man. I'm talking about going uptown, snatching gold chains, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm talking about they introduced me to the lifestyle that I really wasn't accustomed to, but I got in and I learned how to do what I had to do at a young age, man. And guess what? I always had that drug to take me outside myself. And I was very shaky and insecure at the time when I was doing all this shit, right? But I had to wear that mask, because you can't let nobody see you sweat, you know what I'm saying, right? So all this is that age, like I said, man, like 15, 16, man, you know, like thug training, man, ante up, man. So I'm learning the ropes real slick, you know what I'm saying, right? And guess what? See, one thing about addicts could adapt to any environment, you know what I'm saying, right? And we learn what to do, what we got to do real smooth, you know what I'm saying, right? So I adapted to all that, man, and I started liking that shit, you know what I'm saying? I like seeing fear on people's faces and shit, you know what I'm saying? When I'm about to do some foul stuff, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm talking about life doing that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, right? Hurting cats, you know what I'm saying, and okay with it, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, I'm talking about getting planted. I'm talking about, man, having a grudge with life, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, and I'm talking about, man, years later, man, understanding, right, that life didn't do nothing to me. I did everything to life, you know what I'm saying? For my lack of self-acceptance, you know what I'm saying, right? But I'm talking about coming into this process, man, and learning how to surrender, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, like, grudges, man. Y'all don't thank God for Narcotics Anonymous, man. I came here, y'all told me, yo, Derek, man, we do this shit one day at a time, man. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go through issues in Narcotics Anonymous. It's not a problem, it's just an issue, you know what I'm saying? It's just how I deal with it, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about get loving and caring people who care about you, want to help you in recovery, you know what I'm saying, right? And, like, that was the best thing ever happened to me, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I left out a whole lot of stuff in my journey to where I'm at now, right? You know, but it's all right, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, man, the grudges. I don't carry grudges too deep nowadays, you know what I'm saying? You know, because I understand about how I'm the only one that suffers when I'm carrying them, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, and that comes from hearing experience people tell me about this, you know what I'm saying, right? I didn't know nothing about recovery before I came here, but I got with people who did, you know what I'm saying, right? They got me up under their wings, you know what I'm saying, and they started showing me, you know what I'm saying, right? Y'all told me I can't grasp a new idea on a closed mind, so open it must be made somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So I came back and I did a whole lot of listening, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, they told me you got to listen to learn to listen. You got to get a message first before you be a messenger carrier, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, I'm talking about, man, I love Narcotics, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't trade this thing for nothing in the world. You know, I'm talking about, man, coming back, man. You know, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, that shit was painful for me growing up, right? And I'm talking about, but guess what? Coming to Narcotics Anonymous, I hear a whole lot of us had pain growing up, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't no big difference, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, like, when I came back from the West Coast to New York and I touched down in Brownsville, right? I had on some Adidas, right? And the whole product looked at my Adidas and shit, right? And they said, Derek, we thought that you're supposed to be leather, right? I had some corduroy Adidas and shit, right? And the whole block stood out there the whole night, capping on my shoes and shit. On my whole dress code period, I'm saying, right? So what happened was, I knew I had to get off the block. So I went upstairs, went in the room, told my uncle, man, I ain't going outside no more. He said, why? I said, because I got corduroy Adidas and shit, right? And the whole block is clowning this shit, right? So my uncle said, go in my room, get my kicks and shit, right? Because my uncle had all the colors, you know what I'm saying? Red, green, you know, with the fat shoelaces. That was back then, you know what I'm saying? And like, I grabbed one of those Adidas, put it on, had the leaves, ironed the leaves up and shit, you know what I'm saying? Hit the block, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm a regular, you know what I'm saying, right? So now the niggas ain't capping on me no more and shit, right? So I felt, now I know what I got to do to fit in, you know what I'm saying? Right? So that's when I started wearing the proper dress code, you know what I'm saying? All different color shoes, you know what I'm saying? Talking about the Pumas, you know what I'm saying? Shell-toed Adidas and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I learned how to fit in, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about finding out that I really didn't have resentment with you. The resentment really started with me through my lack of self-acceptance, you know what I'm saying, right? But when I was able to accept my reality and life just the way it was, everything worked out a whole lot better, man. You know? And I'm talking about, man, I didn't learn none of this until coming to rooms in Narcotics Anonymous, you know what I'm saying? I came here because I thought I had a drug problem, but I finally found out I had a living problem. And when y'all would teach me how to deal with life on life terms and situations and not use no narcotics, you know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm talking about, man, life has became wonderful, man. I'm talking about I left a whole lot of shit out my story. Like getting sent to prison and shit, you know what I'm saying? By acting on my attitudes, my ideas, and my behavior. Like doing stuff that wasn't really me. Catching assault with deadly weapons and shit, you know what I'm saying, right? Getting incarcerated, you know what I'm saying? Learn a whole different kind of trade in the prison system and shit, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, then coming back to the streets, you know what I'm saying? Not once asked myself, could drugs be the problem? So after being locked up, hitting the streets, you know what I'm saying? I was doing the same shit I was doing in less than 30 days. They got me sent to prison. And the way I was living, I was going to go back, you know what I'm saying? But God intervened. God stepped into the way. He said, yo, Dad, I got your son. I got something better for you, you know what I'm saying? And he sent me to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, man. And I got into the rooms of NA, and I sat back and I heard other people tell their stories that I could identify with. People doing the same shit I was doing, you know what I'm saying? And they talk about they're not doing that shit no more. They living a different life, you know what I'm saying? And if you want what we have to offer and are willing to make an effort, we can show you how to get it, you know what I'm saying? So I sat back and I started getting with the winners, man. And in the rooms, we got a whole lot of winners. But guess what? You got to sit back and find out who they are. You know what I'm saying? You know, that process comes by making 90 meetings in 90 days. Sit back, listen and learn to listen, man. And that's what I started doing, man. And I started getting with the winners, you know what I'm saying? And they started showing me to do the right thing for the right reason, man. You know, they told me, Dad, you're doing a good job staying clean, but guess what? Your life is still the same. Only thing different is you ain't getting high, right? He said, once you try to do what productive members of society do, you know what I'm saying? Like get a job, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, that shit just never came to me, get a job. Why get a job? I collect city welfare, you know what I'm saying, right? And be out and chill on the block with the rest of the crew and shit, you know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, we ain't living like that, man. Just go get a damn job, right? So I went out there, I went to Sea Caucus, you know what I'm saying? Went to Roy Rogers, age 26, grown-ass man, right? I talked with the manager. Manager said, we'll give you a shot. I told the manager, hold up one second. I'm going to call my sponsor and response. They want to give me a job at Roy Rogers, but I don't think I should take this job, right? And he asked me, why not? Because I said, I'm too damn grown to be flipping burgers at Roy Rogers, right? And my sponsor said, Derek, when you was incarcerated, how much was they paying you when you was locked up? And I said, thanks for sharing, you know what I'm saying, right? And I took that job, man, and I started working at Roy Rogers, flipping burgers at talking about a grown cat, flipping burgers, right? The ladies come through the line and shit. Oh, sir, can I get some hot fries? I'm ready to flip, you know what I'm saying? Because the fries just came up, right? She wants some hot fries, right? So I say, all right, man. So I can get some fries, make some more hot ones and shit, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm talking about practicing, checking my attitude, my ideas, and my behavior, because I'm ready to black out, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm talking about, that was the best thing my sponsor told me to do was go ahead and get a damn job and live like normal people do. And that started telling me how to deal with my disease, man, you know? And I'm talking about, man, thank God for the rooms and the people inside the rooms, right? And through that one job, right, I came here and I was seeing y'all sharing from the floor about y'all going on vacation. Y'all talking about the income tax money's coming through, right? And y'all about to bounce out of town and stuff, right? So I'm saying to myself, damn, I ain't never got no income tax a day in my life, I'm saying. No, that's pathetic though. Age 26, no income tax return a day in your life, come on, right? So, but I heard y'all talking about that stuff, right? And my sponsor said, Dad, those are some of the gifts you get by staying clean and going to work and being a productive member of society, right? So I'm on my job at Roy Rogers, y'all, working for a whole year, and now I'm eligible for income tax, right? So I'm sitting back and shit, right? So I went down to the travel agency, right? Got me a whole bunch of brochures and shit, you know what I'm saying, right? I said, where I want to go? Hawaii, you know what I'm saying, right? The Bahamas, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm like all gassed up with this, right? So I filed my little income tax return and shit, right? And I was happy, but I was disappointed, right? I was happy because I was getting returned, but I was disappointed because there wasn't enough money for me to go on no damn trips to no Hawaii or no shit like that, right? It was just enough for me to get a few pair of pants, right? Some tennis shoes to keep that shit local, you know what I'm saying, right? So I called my sponsor and said, your sponsor, man, you know, I'll give him income tax and everything is good with that, you know what I'm saying? But it's not enough money for me to go on no vacation to no damn Hawaii, no shit like that, right? And he said, you know why that was? I said, why? He said, because the type of work you do, right? He said, what you got to do is go back to school, learn a trade, right? And then that'll give you more money, and then you get more things, right? So I went back to school, I learned a trade, started messing with cars and stuff, I'm saying, right? Did that for a whole year, got qualified to do what I got to do, right? Got a job and went back to work, I'm saying, right? Now I'm building up a prudent reserve, right? Stacking my chips and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, like, my money started getting kind of deep, right? I said, sponsor, I called my sponsor, what? He said, what? I said, you know what? I just looked at my bank account, right? If I want to go to Hawaii or Bahamas, I got enough cake to do that shit right now, you know what I'm saying, right? I ain't got to wait for no income tax return, you know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, and that comes from you getting that better job, paying more money, you know what I'm saying, right? He said, this thing's about living life on life terms as other people do, man. Don't stay stuck on stupid, you know what I'm saying? You got to go out there and do some things, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm that cat that sit back in the meeting and see other people drive up a nice car and start carrying his ass, and this nigga think he all that, right? No, it's not he think that, I think that, you know what I'm saying? You know, and they started telling me to put my thing in proper perspective, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, and that helped me start dealing with that, man. They helped me deal with the grudges, man. I'm going to have grudges with you because you're doing the right thing for the right reason, man. You know, you calling your sponsor every day. You doing the step work, you know what I'm saying? How the hell this cat sharing on this step when I got here before him, you know what I'm saying? Because he came in and doing the work, you know what I'm saying, right? You can't knock nobody for coming here and want to get better, right? I heard a tape where the guy asked me, down the tape said, how the sponsor asked the sponsor, how soon do you want to get better, you know what I'm saying, right? He said immediately, you know what I'm saying, so we're going to go to do the step work right now, you know what I'm saying? Area I come from, we don't have you wait no 60, 90 a year to do no step work. You come in, you ready for recovery, we put you to work, you know what I'm saying, right? And that's how he did me, man. And I thank God for that, man, because they helped me deal with my grudges, man. Grudges like a resentment, man. And they helped me deal with that shit. And that shit come from lack of acceptance, you know what I'm saying? When I can accept whatever's going on, I'm alright with it, you know what I'm saying? I should say I deal with it a whole lot better, you know what I'm saying? I may not be alright with it, but it's okay, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, I'm talking about, man, thank God for this 12-step process, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, I'm talking about, man, we come from up north, the greater Newark area, right? And we do traveling for our recovery, man. We don't care where we got to go for this message, you know what I'm saying, right? We talking about getting away for the whole weekend, you know what I'm saying? Sitting back, hearing other people share their experiences and hope. Knowing that we ain't got to lock down in our area, you know what I'm saying, right? We got to go outside our area and talk about the broader the base, the higher the freedom, right? So what I do, I go to another area and I walk around with meeting lists with the back of the head and have other people sign their name and numbers, you know what I'm saying, right? And I give them a call every now and then. I'm not going to call you every week, no shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? Everything I'll check in with you, see how you doing and shit, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm talking about, man, recovery's on the game in town, you know what I'm saying, right? I went from a loner to a member, you know what I'm saying, right? I'm that cat now, would do whatever I got to do to stay clean and help another addict stay clean, man. I'm talking about because they did that thing for me, man. You know, I'm talking about, man, it's the only game in town, man. You know, so I'm talking about the step work, help me deal with grudges at the world, man. Today, I ain't got grudges at my parents for being the best parents they could be. You know, my mother and father didn't think when they was moving us from New York to the white neighborhood that it was going to cause any harm. They thought they were doing the right thing, and that's what we did in America, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thank God that's how it went down. I'm glad I lived my life just the way it was. For every experience I went through, you know what I'm saying, right? I wouldn't take nothing back, you know what I'm saying, right? Because that, all them experiences are the person who's in front of you now, man. And I used to have I used to not accept myself for who I was, but today I accept myself for who I am, you know what I'm saying, right? Either you like it or you don't, you know what I'm saying? But I'm okay with me, you know what I'm saying? And that's what the steps do for you, man. I harmed a whole lot of people out there when I was using. I'm talking about harming cats, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, and they talking about it's okay, man, you know what I'm saying? Some people can make amends to, and sometimes it's best not to make amends to them, you know what I'm saying, and just not do that shit no more, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, and that's why sponsorship is the heartbeat of this program, man. You learn what to do and what not to do, you know what I'm saying, right? And I'm just glad this era took a risk with an addict like me, you know what I'm saying? I ain't having time to warm up, give y'all no script, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, but I like it like that. When I walk through the door and I say, yo, Jerry, look, speaker ain't show up, we need you, you know what I'm saying, right? Could you step in, you know what I'm saying? One thing I never say is no to Narcotics Anonymous, you know what I'm saying? Because they didn't say no to me when I first got here. Somebody carried that message to me when I first got here. And they're talking about, when you come to NA, find one person that you can tell everything to. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we can't tell me to drop everything on the group, you know what I'm saying? But find one person you tell everything to. Because, see, when you start sharing your disease with other people, you get free, man. And then you get choices. After that, you get choices on what you want to do, man. You know, I'm talking about, like, grudges is a heavy thing to carry. Like I'm saying, if you get to this Narcotics Anonymous program and you start working the steps, you hear early recovery steps is the answer. Right? Answer to what? Answer to your questions. Living on life terms, I'm saying, right? Man, this is the only thing in town, man. I wouldn't trade this thing for nothing in the world, I'm saying, right? This thing has taught me how to be patient and tolerant with other people, I'm saying, right? I was that one addict sitting in the back, and you come to Narcotics Anonymous and do something other than what we doing here, I'm the first one jumping up, hollering. That ain't how we do that shit in here, man. Take that shit to the street, right? But that ain't my place. Because the first step I'm powerless, I'm saying. I'm talking about, man, this thing is, I'm talking about understanding rather than being understood, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, how it's been in meetings and people come in and they talk about how they cross-addicted, you know what I'm saying, how they alcoholic and addicts, you know what I'm saying, right? And NA, we just one disease with many symptoms, you know what I'm saying? So we just ask you to identify yourself as an addict, and that cancels everything else that you want to put into it, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, but I was impatient with that, you know what I'm saying? But as I kept coming, you know what I'm saying, right? And now it's better I understand rather than be understood, you know what I'm saying, right? So I can't play God up in this place, you know what I'm saying? One thing the steps have taught me is my place. And once I know my place, everything will be all right, you know what I'm saying, right? So, like I'm saying, I want to thank this era, like I'm saying, for taking a risk with an addict like me. And today, I have no grudges, you know what I'm saying, because I got acceptance for life. It's just the way it is, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, through sponsorship, through a home group, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, I use all the tools available to me, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, I'm talking about, man, like I said, man, we talk about NA to the box in the area I come, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we believe, NA to the box, man. There ain't no graduation in the spot, you know what I'm saying, right? You know, when you get to 12 steps, when you finish with 12, you go right back to 1, you know what I'm saying, right? So I hope I shared something that somebody could identify with, you know what I'm saying? That's all I got. Thanks. Would you help me? Thank both our speakers, Leon and Gary.